Well, good evening, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. We have a crowler from Plan B Beer Works in St. Catharines, Ontario. This one had some leakage down the front before he put the lid on it. Anyway, what this is Kevin's Fault. Kevin's Fault is 7% alcohol, and what did he say it was? It was a white beer mixed with a black IPA. Intriguing. Yeah. What did it... Nice pop to that crowler sound. Again, we're not going to fill the cup because we need BDU beer. We certainly do. That's a lot of head. Makes a lot of head. Beautiful black color. Is there a flashlight near me? No, there isn't. Thick head. Very minuscule bubbles. Nice snap crackle pop. I love the snap crackle pop. Not that it matters at all. It's just something I personally love. Beautiful look. The head's got a nice viscosity. Look at that. Smell. That's like a chocolate pine cone, man. I don't know what's going on there. It really is. It's like a chocolate pine cone. Lots of chocolate, both like milk chocolate and baker's chocolate. You get a little bit of that bitter chocolate as well as some sweet milk chocolate. And pine. Yeah. Chocolate and pine out of the can, too. Let's try it. Cheers. Okay. Now I know John said this was delish, and taste is subjective. There is nothing wrong with this beer. There's no faults in it, at least off of the first sip. I'll tell you after a few more if I pick any up. But for me, I don't find it delish. I don't find it gross either. I mean, Chris in the basement did not like this beer. I don't find it to be a beer I really dislike, but it's not a beer I like either. It's intriguing because it really does taste kind of like what it smells like, but it's hefty. It has a good mouthfeel. 7% alcohol. No alcohol taste at all. Chocolate and pine is what I'm getting. There's a little bit of a breadiness, and almost a touch of Belgian yeast on the back end, but not like the banana or bubblegum Belgian yeast, kind of that almost clovey dryness. So a touch of the clovey dryness and a breadiness on the back end, a little bit of just nondescript grainy sweetness up at the forefront with some nice chocolate sweetness, and then a very, very apparent piney bitterness. And I think that's what's throwing me off, is this beer has two things I love. I love the breadiness. Well, I guess I should say this beer has four things. Two things I love and two things I don't love. It has that kind of clovey dryness. It has that pininess. Those two things I don't like. And then it has the breadiness and the chocolate, which I love. And then you also have that little bit of just nonchalant, sweet graininess. So it is a really interesting beer and really complex and intriguing. But is it a beer I really enjoy? No, I don't even know if I really... I'm going to drink the crowler because I paid $10 for it, but I don't know if I'd really want to normally. I think this would be a nice beer to share with some friends. You know, you each get like 6 ounces and get 5 friends. Great beer to try that way, but is it a beer that I personally like? No. Kevin, I don't like your beer. It might be your fault, and it's your fault I don't like the fucking beer. It's your fault! Intriguing concept, intriguing flavor. John thinking it's delish. Chris not liking it. I'm probably right in the middle. Yeah, personally, I'd give it a 5.5, and with an asterisk, like I have to say sometimes, this is a review. I don't taste any off flavors. There's nothing wrong with the beer. There is no mistakes in the beer. There's nothing like that. There is no brewing faults. There is no accidental faults. It's just, as a review, it's also a talk about my own personal palate, my own personal likes and dislikes, and my own personal feeling about the the taste expectations I had, as well as what I'm tasting. And to me, this is not a bad beer. It's over a 5 because it's not a beer that I would turn my nose down on or not recommend. Well, even if I gave a beer a 1, I'd still recommend for you to try it because I'd want to know your thoughts on it. But this beer is not for me. It's not for what I like in the taste of a beer. And that's perfectly okay. We don't all need to love every beer out there. I still think Block. Wow. It's because there's a Block 3 bottle right there looking at me. My mind wanders as I'm looking at things. And there's the game Bloxus right there. So Block is in my mind. Anyway, I don't think there's anything wrong with this beer, and I don't think there's any reason for anyone not to try this beer. And even if I did think that, I'd still tell you to try it. It's just not a beer for my personal tastes. It's over a 5 because there's nothing wrong with it, and I could drink it if I had to. But it's not it's not in a 6 or up roll because it's not a beer that I would really gravitate to or want to have again. If I do have it again, it's because somebody brought it over or something like that. This is not one I would go to. His breakfast stout, I love. His Smoky the beer, I love. His Patter's beer, I loved. Like, Plan B makes a lot of great beers, so I am in no way saying they don't. And now that he has a few months under his belt in that building with that brew system, he has it pretty much tuned in, it seems. So go out and try his beers. It's a great place to be. This beer isn't for me. It might be for you. Thank you, guys. Bye.